If a retailer relies too heavily on intrusive monitoring, they inevitably damage brand loyalty. The shopper will simply migrate to a competitor who offers a less hostile environment.
That tension between security and customer experience is precisely what is driving the adoption of these software-centric models.
The requirement now is for a solution that operates discreetly,
Analyzing the transaction itself rather than policing the individual.
which introduces the current evolution in loss prevention architecture, systems like shopreme sentry.
Right, which operates as an AI-powered software layer.
And it sits entirely invisibly within the ecosystem. It integrates directly into a retailer's existing point-of-sale architecture.
That's the key. There is no requirement to retrofit stores with additional camera networks, no new scales to calibrate.
And no supplementary physical barriers required for it to just function.
It represents a total paradigm shift. We are moving from physical confrontation to digital, real-time analysis.
Here's where it gets really interesting. If the system is not utilizing facial recognition cameras,
Which it isn't.
and it is not relying on the physical weight of the shopping bags to verify the basket, how does the AI actually detect anomalous behavior?
It relies entirely on the continuous analysis of transaction metadata.
Okay, break that down for us.
The AI is ingesting and evaluating non-personal data points in real time as the shopper interacts with the POS or their mobile app.
So it is not looking at who I am.
Not at all. It is not profiling the demographic of the shopper. It is profiling the behavioral rhythm of the transaction itself.
The rhythm of the transaction.
Yes. The algorithm assesses the exact time of the purchase, the specific categories of products being scanned, the sequence in which they are scanned.
And even the timing, right?
Exactly, the precise millisecond timing between those individual scans.
But surely human behavior is inherently erratic.
It is.
So how does an algorithm differentiate between a shopper who is simply slow at bagging their items or perhaps distracted by their phone and someone who is actively attempting to defraud the till?
That is where the volume and the sophistication of the training data become critical. The AI is specifically calibrated to hunt for distinct mathematical anomalies that correlate heavily with known fraud tactics.
Can you give an example of that?
For instance, it evaluates scanning velocity.
Right?
If the metadata shows items being scanned at an impossibly rapid pace...
Faster than a human could realistically handle the physical goods.
Exactly. That triggers an alert for a potential sweethearting or barcode manipulation attempt.
Right, where they cover the barcode of an expensive item with a cheap one.
Yes. And conversely, prolonged, unexplained intervals between scans can indicate an individual attempting to conceal items in their bag.
The system is also mapping basket manipulation, isn't it?
It is.
The source data highlights that the AI monitors items added to the digital basket, but subsequently removed just prior to finalizing the payment.
Precisely. It looks for repeated scans of low-value items disguised as high-value items, or suspicious time gaps that break the standard cadence of a typical shopping trip.
It's quite brilliant.
It is effectively reading the digital footprint of the transaction to identify the distinct markers of manipulation.
So let's contrast that targeted, data-driven approach with the industry's historical reliance on random spot checks.
The bane of the honest shopper.
Truly. If you are a frequent user of Scan and Go, you have undoubtedly experienced the frustration of being flagged for a random check.
Your transaction just freezes.
You wait for a staff member to arrive.
And they manually audit a selection of your items against your digital receipt.
From an operational standpoint, random spot checks are a mathematical failure, aren't they?
They are. Because they rely on arbitrary selection, or at best, highly rudimentary logic, they inherently possess a massive false negative rate for actual fraud.
They simply miss the vast majority of shrinkage.
Exactly. And simultaneously, they generate a tremendous amount of false positives,
interrupting and alienating your most honest, high-frequency customers.
You are effectively penalizing the exact demographic you built the frictionless technology for in the first place.
But the efficiency gains of replacing that randomness with AI are staggering.
The performance metrics are very clear on this.
They indicate that AI-powered tools like Sentry prevent shrinkage 4 times more effectively than those traditional random methods.
A 400% increase in effectiveness.
Entirely because interventions are now deployed based on hard, real-time algorithmic triggers rather than a roll of the dice.
Staff are only dispatched when the metadata strongly suggests an intervention is warranted.
What's fascinating here is that this software layer does not operate in isolation.
No, it can't. The modern approach to retail loss prevention is constructed on 3 deeply interconnected pillars.
Right, because relying solely on the algorithm is insufficient.
It requires a holistic strategy, one encompassing psychology, technology, and human interaction.
Let's dissect those 3 pillars, starting with the psychological element.
This revolves heavily around UX design and expectation management.
The data demonstrates that making a customer subtly aware of the security infrastructure drastically reduces the probability of opportunistic shrinkage.
Clarity is a phenomenal deterrent. The psychological pillar utilizes the interface itself to manage behavior.
How does that look in practice?
Well, for example, within a Scan and Go application, a shopper might receive a well-designed, unobtrusive in-app notification, gently reminding them that a routine spot check could occur.
Ah, so it is not framed as an accusation.
It is presented as standard operating procedure. Excellent UX design naturally minimizes unintentional operational errors.
Like genuinely forgetting to scan a secondary item at the bottom of the shopping trolley.
Exactly. Whilst that clear, upfront communication neutralizes the temptation for opportunistic theft.
Moving to the second pillar, the technological infrastructure.
We have discussed the AI software, but it is vital to note how this data is handled.
These systems operate on cloud-based, isolated data models.
Yes, a retailer's transaction data, their specific shrinkage patterns, and their operational rhythms are siloed.
They're not pooled into a generic model shared with their direct competitors.
No. The AI continuously learns and adapts exclusively to the unique environment of that specific retail chain.
And whilst the foundation is software, the technology pillar allows for scalable physical integration based on the retailer's risk appetite.
This is a great feature. If a specific location requires higher friction, the software seamlessly integrates with modern hardware solutions.
The documentation highlights the shopreme vector exit terminal, doesn't it?
Yes, which acts as a controlled physical barrier for self-checkout users. It prevents sophisticated fraud like the reuse of old exit QR codes.
There is also the capacity to integrate with smart carts equipped with AI camera vision.
The software provides the intelligence, and the retailer dials the physical friction up or down as needed based on the location.
Which brings us to the most critical component, the third pillar, the human element.
The most sophisticated algorithm in the world is absolutely useless if the frontline staff cannot execute the intervention effectively.
The system relies heavily on a supervisor app,
Which is a dedicated interface that provides store colleagues with a real-time, comprehensive overview of every active digital basket on the shop floor.
It fundamentally transforms the role of the shop floor employee.
They are no longer passively observing a bank of tills, trying to guess who might be acting suspiciously.
They become highly informed operators.
When the AI metadata detects one of those anomalies we talked about,
The suspicious time gap, the erratic scan velocity.
it pushes a targeted notification directly to the supervisor app, and it does not just tell the staff member to check the customer.
It actively guides them through a smart rescan.
Exactly. The app highlights the specific items or the specific behavioral anomaly that triggered the alert.
That targeted precision completely changes the dynamic of the intervention.
The staff member approaches the customer with specific intent, rather than initiating a slow, blind audit of the entire basket.
And the efficiency metrics tied to that guided approach are remarkable.
Because the staff member is directed precisely to the source of the anomaly, the entire intervention process takes an average of just 38 seconds.
38 seconds. Think about that compared to the traditional multi-minute ordeal of unpacking bags, scanning items manually, and rebuilding the basket while a massive queue forms behind you.
38 seconds to resolve a high-probability alert. It de-escalates the situation rapidly.
Minimizes embarrassment for the honest shopper who may have just made a mistake.
And quickly processes the actual fraudster.
The cumulative operational impact of that speed is massive.
He really adds up.
The data reveals that this guided AI-driven efficiency reduces the workload for store staff by more than 20 hours per month per store.
That is half a working week handed back to the management team.
Instead of conducting arbitrary receipt checks, those staff hours are reallocated to customer service, inventory management, and actual revenue-generating activities.
This raises an important question, however.
Oh.
When analyzing shrinkage and loss prevention, the industry narrative almost exclusively fixates on the consumer.
That's true.
But the operational reality of retail loss is far more complex. We have to address the vulnerability on the other side of the till.
Internal shrinkage, employee fraud.
Indeed. Internal loss represents a highly significant proportion of overall retail shrinkage.
Of course.
The compelling advantage of these metadata-driven AI tools is that their analytical rigor is entirely agnostic.
So the algorithm is just as adept at identifying anomalous behavior by a cashier as it is by a self-checkout user.
Exactly. The system actively monitors the operators. The parameters we discussed earlier apply directly to the traditional point of sale.
Timing, scan sequences, basket manipulation.
The AI flags inconsistent cash register transactions. It searches the metadata for frequent, unexplained cancellations.
Or an unusually high volume of refunds being processed by one specific staff ID during a particular shift.
By applying that continuous pattern recognition to the staff themselves, the software highlights statistical outliers.
It allows loss prevention managers to investigate potential internal fraud quietly, accurately, and based entirely on data, rather than suspicion or hearsay.
It provides a level of operational discretion that traditional oversight simply cannot match. The operational intelligence generated by this continuous metadata analysis is a goldmine for the wider business.
The exact same data points utilized to identify a suspicious time gap between scans can be leveraged to fundamentally optimize how the physical shop operates.
You are capturing incredibly granular data regarding how consumers navigate the physical space,
How they interact with specific product categories.
and the exact velocity of inventory movement at a micro level.
So retailers can utilize this unified data stream to dynamically optimize stock levels, refine their overall inventory management protocols,
And even tailor highly specific marketing promotions.
if the AI is already mapping exactly when and how certain products are being scanned sequentially, the merchandising teams can adjust product adjacencies and promotional placements to capitalize on those invisible purchasing patterns.
The loss prevention infrastructure effectively doubles as an engine for macro-level operational efficiency.
It breaks down the traditional silos within retail management.
You are merging the self-checkout kiosks, the mobile applications, the inventory management platforms, and the loss prevention protocols into a single, continuous stream of actionable, real-time intelligence.
The retail sector is systematically dismantling the traditional hardware-heavy approach to loss prevention.
The reliance on intrusive physical barriers, reactive CCTV, and mathematically flawed random spot checks is coming to an end.
In its place, the industry is scaling an invisible, highly accurate software layer.
By leveraging real-time transaction metadata and sophisticated behavioral profiling, systems like Shopreme Sentry are allowing retailers to deliver the frictionless experience consumers demand.
While simultaneously intervening with 4 times the accuracy of legacy methods.